Welcome back to another edition of Research Fantasy presents our MLB DFS hitter picks for Friday, April 21st, 2017. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nick Valinchek, better known as Nick from CWE on all of your favorite daily fantasy sites. And I'm going to bring you my top 3 hitter picks for this slate of baseball. Now, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I'm actually going to add a 4th player because if this guy plays, he's someone I do want quite a bit of exposure to. And that's Allen Cordoba of the San Diego Padres. I know that this isn't like a sexy pick by any stretch of the imagination, but this dude can hit left-handed pitching pretty well. He's going up against Adam Conley, who I'm not afraid to go against. I don't understand why he's priced where he's at on FanDuel by any stretch of the imagination. But Cordoba is a guy that is very questionable to make the lineup. But if you're looking for a way to differentiate yourself or you want to punt at a position other than the catcher position, I'm not opposed to this. I mean, I think he's a guy who could end up putting together a night that really makes us go wow and helps you win your games, and that's what it's all about. So he's kind of a secret sauce, pops huge in our model, but it's a very small sample size on him, so it makes sense as to why. All right, let's take a look at some of my favorite plays today. I'm kind of doing away with the whole tiered system because Cordoba would have been the guy who took under 3K. Instead, I want to look at 3 guys I really like tonight. 2 are in the same game but not on the same team. Basically have the same use in terms of why we're putting them in our lineups. Both popped. All 3 popped, and you're going to understand why when I go with my favorite play of the game, who's probably going to be 99 to 600% owned tonight. Let's start things out with Yasmany Tomas, Arizona Diamondbacks, 3,200. Fresh off a trip to the West Coast, these guys I think they get a night off. I didn't get to watch any of the games or follow along with anything. My grandmother died last weekend. We held the funeral yesterday. So by the time I got in, I slept because, it's a life situation it's difficult. I mean, it's not the end of the world. You kind of got to go on just like she would want me to. But it was emotionally draining, so I had to take a nap and woke up at 6:30 to make 300 lineups. Not the most easy thing to do, so needless to say, didn't get a chance to watch anything. Don't remember if these teams played yesterday, but Tomas, I believe, was off yesterday, heading back home after a pretty strenuous road trip to the West Coast that saw them take on San Diego, the Dodgers, and the Giants. The Dodgers will be bringing their brand of baseball into Arizona, which is a much better hitter park. They're going to be throwing Alex Wood out there for a full game. And Wood might not be a horrible pitcher. I mean, he's got some strikeout upside. He's a guy that kind of sneakily could be a good play if you think that he's going to be able to shut the Diamondbacks down tonight. But Tomas, hitting how he's hitting, getting back into a good hitter park. I don't want to make it out to be like Yasmany Tomas is absolutely killing it or anything like that, but his upside here against this team in his home park is pretty significant. After going 0 for 4 to start the year, understandably because, I'm pretty sure the first 2 games were Madison Bumgarner and Johnny Cueto. His next 3 games at home that he played, and he did have one game off against Cleveland, he had 12.5, 22.2, and 24.9 fantasy points. That's strong production. And, I mean, they've been on a road trip, like I said, for the better part of 2 weeks here, now coming back home. I think this is the get-right point for Tomas. He's got high home run upside against a lefty bat. Maybe the stats, excuse me, this cough is going to be around for at least another month, by the way. Wood has looked good in limited innings, but if we have to project that over 6 or 7 innings, there's no real way to guarantee that he's going to look as good as he does. So I'm not afraid to go with some of these Arizona righties tonight. I actually prefer this game much more than I do the Colorado game. Next up, let's stick in the outfield. Let's stick in Arizona. Let's move on to Yasiel Puig, 3,200. I really like the price points for both of these guys on FanDuel. Puig got out to a really a pretty good start. Hasn't really been as productive lately. Biggest reason I'm wanting him here is the shift to the park is a big deal. Tawan Walker, as I said in my article, he's the kind of guy that is either or he isn't an upper echelon MLB pitcher. Sometimes this kid flashes brilliance, and then other times you're scratching your head like, what in the world are you doing, man? And you never know what you're going to get with him. So that's what makes it tough. In Seattle, he was just a stressful player to put in your roster because you just never knew what he was going to give you. I think that this is going to be a high-scoring game. Gut tells me like 5-7 type situation here, so you'll want some exposure because a 5-run team is still a great fantasy team. Those 5 runs happen somewhere, and I don't mind Puig. He's prone. The biggest thing with Puig that I like is when he goes off, he has like 45 and 60 point games. And at that point, if you have him in your lineup and he's like 5% owned because nobody really wants to deal with the inconsistency, I mean, it's over. You're taking home some cash. As long as you didn't stumble on pitching, you're probably in a really good position tonight. So let's go to our top play of the night as far as hitting goes. And this is really the only time this year that I felt like I've cheated in picking my top player. But there's no way, absolutely no way, in a matchup, at home, in a hitter's park, against Adam Wainwright, who just can't throw to left-handed hitting, that Eric Thames is not going to be our top play. Like, it's just insane. This guy might be the second coming of Babe Ruth, except for the fact that he isn't. And the floor is going to fall out eventually, but it's hard to argue with the .415 batting average and 8 home runs thus far this year. He cranked another one out last night. He's a guy that, to me, he's just got to be a cash game staple at this point because you're dealing with a situation where it was like the other night, Freddie Freeman was like 66 to 75% owned in all of the high entry cash games. If you didn't have him in the game that he put together, like, it was a wrap. You didn't win a single thing. And that could be the same way it goes with Thames tonight. I know that, like, it's cute in tournaments to think let's fade him, but I'm not even at that point yet. I'd rather take 9 to 12 points from him in a tournament setting and in a cash game setting, know that he's going to be highly owned, then fade him and have him go off for something like 2 home runs and you're just left in the dust. Eric Thames is playing the best baseball out of anyone in all of baseball, and yes, that feels weird to say, but the reality is the reality. Ride the train until it stops, and so Eric Thames makes our top play tonight. Once again, top 3 batters, Eric Thames, Yasiel Puig, Yasmany Tomas. We're searching for home runs tonight, folks, and I think we're going to get them. So if you liked what you heard, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel below. Never feel like you can't send me a message, or a comment, anything on YouTube or any of our other platforms. I mostly have the time to reply. Today's going to be a little bit of a difficult situation again, but I'll do my best to respond to you. Head over to Facebook, like us there. Head over to researchfantasy.com, sign up for our MLB mailing list. Follow us on Twitter at Research and Win, and join us again tomorrow.